Hello, this is Dr. JoAnn Manson, professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School and Brigham and Women's Hospital. I'd like to talk with you about a recent report in JAMA on exercise and cardiovascular disease, trying to disentangle the role of the total amount or volume of moderate to vigorous physical activity weekly versus the frequency or pattern of activity. The latter meaning whether the activity is equally distributed across the week or tends to occur on only 1 to 2 days, such as a weekend warrior pattern. This is a very large study done in the UK Biobank, 90,000 men and women with a mean age of 62. And there was an objective measure of physical activity through accelerometry for 1 week. And then they looked at incident CVD events over about 6 years. And they classified the participants as either meeting the guidelines for physical activity, moderate to vigorous physical activity of at least 2.5 hours per week, or being physically inactive. And for the physically active group, they further subdivided them into those who had an equal distribution of their activity throughout the week versus those where more than half of the activity was concentrated just 1 to 2 days of the week. And what they found was that both of the active groups, whether they had fairly equal distribution of activity across the week or tended to have concentrated 1 to 2 days a week, had similar reductions in cardiovascular disease. And the CVD reductions were quite substantial. For myocardial infarction, it was close to 30% reduction. For heart failure, it was 35 to 40% lower risk. For atrial fibrillation and stroke, about a 20% reduction. Very similar in the two active groups compared to the inactive groups. They also did a separate analysis using a threshold for moderate to vigorous activity of, instead of 2.5 hours per week, they looked at close to 4 hours per week and had very similar results. Now, another important finding was that the women in the study tended to be much less active than the men. And the percentage of women who are classified as inactive or not meeting guidelines was about 40% of the women and only about 26% of the men. So this message that even having the activity only 1 to 2 days of the week, not necessarily spread out evenly across the week, is very helpful, important for cardiovascular health. Maybe a message that should be particularly highlighted for women, because women will often have trouble or challenges finding the time to exercise regularly every day of the week or uniformly throughout the week. Now, we know that exercise is close to a magic bullet as we've come in modern medicine. And this study focused on cardiovascular disease, but other studies have documented that physical activity is linked to lower risks of type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, several forms of cancer, and even cognitive decline. So I think this is a really important message for patients, that there are major benefits from exercising, even if it can't be every day of the week. If they're meeting the guidelines for total amount of moderate to vigorous physical activity, it seems to be fine if it's concentrated in only 1 to 2 days of the week. And this message, I think, can provide more flexibility for patients in achieving physical activity goals, and can really help our patients to improve their health. Thank you so much for your attention. This is JoAnn Manson.